Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Activity Call Live. Brought to you today from Dayton, Ohio. Now, let's hear it for your host, Alex Abuyuan.
All right. Welcome, Alliance Nation. We're fired up to be with you and got some great topics that we're going to cover today that Andy had laid out and wanted me to share with y'all. And I got some folks on my team coming on. And man, I hope y'all had a great week. And big Super Saturday's coming tomorrow. So I know a bunch of you all are going to be out there slamming it tomorrow. My name is Alex Abuyuan. I was brought into the business by Mr. Andy Albright. Andy and Jane Albright, been with Andy since the beginning. And I knew Andy in a previous business. I've known Andy for, since 93, 91. So that's a long time. So I'm grateful to Andy and Jane for bringing us into this business. And man, our lives just is not the same. You know, when I said yes back in, was it November 1999? When I think about it, wow, that's crazy. Yes, I've been in it that long. And I'm more excited today than I've ever been because we've got so many great things going on. We have we're striving for partner. We're striving to help other people get to partner. Andy's leading the way, and he's always led the way. And I'm trying to stay tucked in behind him in his wake. And he's brought me along. He's drugged me along. He's pushed me along. And I can't be more grateful. Our lives have been tremendous. And so now we want to share the opportunity with everyone else out here and teaching you guys, gals, how to do what we've done. We've made multiple millions in the business, and how can you do it too? So we're going to cover some things that are real key for you to get there. But before we get going, let's rock the leaderboard, man. I love the leaderboard, especially the people that are on it love the leaderboard more than the people that are not on it. So let's share that with y'all. All right. Right, so total production issue paid for week ending 9/22. Top of the list, Narasima, and under the ABTF, 64,940. That's rocking. I love it. 2 apps. Thomas Murphy, 37,139, number 2. Got Marvin and Rachel Osuna, the prophet, who's profitable, 23,060 of 4 apps. Brent and Jel Swindell out of Florida, they're rocking it, 18,790. We got Jeff Turner, Kelly Haney, that team killing it on the Roberts team, 18,162. Of course, Terry and Tia, they're killing it, 16,510. Then we got Sue L, number 7 with 15,653. Chris G, 15,291. Robert W, I know who that guy is. Sarge, we call him, 13,347. Megan Wood on the Megan Wood team, 12,595 with 31 apps. Nick Greco, 11,703 with 6 apps. Eric and Bobby Belair, 11,287. And Kyle and Janina Wilson, we got them at 11,160, number 13. Great job, gang. Total issue paid. Let's go to the next leaderboard. We got total annuity sales issue paid. This is a lot of fun. So this kind of shows you where a lot of that production came from, because we get 10% credit on leaderboard credit for the annuities. So Narasima, number 1 with a $600,000 annuity. Marvin and Rachel, 215,980. Number 3, Thomas Murphy with 215,862. Terry and Tia, 165,000. Number 5, Sue L, 156,534. Got number 6, Chris G, 152,914. Jeff Turner, Kelly Haney, 141,405. Brent and Gel, 93,189. Don H, 82,853. Number 10, Alan, it's got 81,164. Number 11, Eric and Randy, 80,000. And then Stephen M on the Cats team, 50,000. So that's our issue paid annuity. I'll tell you what, man, nothing like getting a commission check from an annuity. It's like, man, give me some more of that. You know what I'm saying? All right. Total sales submitted. So this is submitted leaderboard. We got Mark H on the Stephen and Holly Davies team, 29,622 with 18 apps. That's rocking, man. I love app count. When you got app count, you got a solid business, because if a portion of those apps, get declined, you still got all those other apps to be issue paid. So quantity, right? Quantity. We got Megan Wood, number 2 at 20,378 with 36 apps. That's rocking, Megan. Kyle and Janina, 19,907, 15 apps. We got Lenoris on the Davies team, 16,659, 5 apps. Jake and Beret, hey, Jake and Beret, they're on our call. 16,628 with 5 apps. 9 apps. We got Sue on the Thomas Murphy team, 13,200, 2 apps. Robert Sarge, 13,109 with 8 apps. We got Omar with 11,805. James and Pam Alara, my buddies. I love when I see people on leaderboard in my hierarchy. That just jacks me up, man. We had them on our call yesterday. They killed it, man. Some of you might have seen the video. Man, Pam Alara, she's a beast on the phone booking appointments. You got to check that video out. She killed it. 10,916 with 6 apps. Stephanie on the Hartley team, 10,540 with 6 apps. We got Madacia on the Davies team, 10,483. And then Marvin and Rachel, 9,974 with 4 apps, total sales submitted. Top recruiters, we got Mr. Andy Riddle, number 1, 7 recruits. Jeremy and Amy Patton, with 6 recruits, number 2. My man Paul Roberts, number 3 with 4 recruits. Mike and Noel, 3 recruits. Oka and Jason, 2. Stephen M with 2. Number 7, Sheena T with 2. Brandon and Ashley Beal, my man Brandon. And Ashley, 1. We got Brandy with 1, Jeff Schultz with 1, Dr. Martha B with 1, and then Joseph T with 1. All right, man. So that's our leaderboard. Great job, gang. This is where everything happens. We don't get any of this up here, gang, unless we get this down here. Because someone got to bring the people in, right? Someone's got to teach the people to produce. And this is where all of this happens, okay? And we're going to cover that today, how to find people. All right, so it's a great job, gang. Proud of you all. And all right, cool. So, man, I'm excited to be with you. I've got some things to cover. Andy wanted me to cover, the basics of depth building, the basics of building, really, because depth building is building, and going over some simple concepts. So why is this important? Okay. I mean, like, why does Andy want me to talk about this? Well, it's simple. For those of you that want to, start, y'all really start your own business when you got in this thing, right? You are a business owner, whether you like it or not. You are maybe an agency of one person, but you are an agency. You are a sole proprietor, or maybe you started an LLC, whatever the case is. You are in business for yourself. So you are the CEO of your corporation, even if it's a corporation of one person, right? And so when any smart business person starts a business, they always come into it thinking, okay, what am I doing, right? How am I going to get there? Who's going to help me, right? Kind of like our coin. Who's going to help me? And then what's my exit strategy, right? Everyone starts a business. It's, I'm going to build it. I'm going to make money. Then what's my exit strategy? Well, Alex, what's an exit strategy? It's what you eventually want your business to do for you in the long run, right? In the long run. And I knew right away when I got into this business, when Andy showed me the business, man, I said, absolutely, I'm looking. And I want to start my business with you, brother, because I knew Andy would help me. He showed me a model that I believe would work, and he showed me people that could make it work, right? And then he helped me build it. And then the exit strategy was, I'm going to start selling because I need to learn how to do this. I need to produce. I need to really learn how to do this. But at the same time, even though I was just getting started, I knew right away that I didn't want to be in the field forever, right? I knew that there was an exit strategy along the way of getting out of full-time production, because the problem with full-time production is everything depends on you. See, I knew that right away when I got sick for a week and couldn't work. Guess what? I wasn't getting paid on none of that, right? But what was cool is because I brought Mike and Noel in and Patrick Connors in, our agency actually in the second month, we did 100,000 of submitted premium in our second month in the business. And we honestly didn't know what we were doing. Like, we really didn't know what we were doing. We just knew, hey, would you like to get into this business? This business is awesome. That's about all we did. And we just talked to people that we knew. We weren't even doing ads yet. We were talking to people that we knew, and our business just exploded because we were excited. We didn't really know anything. And people didn't really look to us whether or not the business worked. They saw that the business worked because they saw leaderboards of other people doing it. And so we blew up our business. But I knew I didn't want to be in sales forever. I love selling. I still do a little bit of it with my current clients, but I didn't want to have all my income dependent on my sales. So my exit strategy from getting out of sales was building a team, right? Building a team that I could override that could slowly replace what I was making full-time sales and then move in to where I was full-time building and I didn't have to sell. See, the beautiful thing about building is that if I'm out for a week, I still got money rolling in, and it doesn't matter if I'm selling or not. And then what's the exit strategy eventually? Well, I look at what Andy did. What did Andy do? He sold his business to Integrity Marketing, and now Andy's a partner. Now he's part of Integrity Marketing. It's like, wow, this opportunity just unfolded for our exit strategy, which is going partner, being able to be absorbed by the Integrity Marketing Group and get paid for building a team. And we start building and earning and building equity in the Integrity Marketing Group. So exit strategy, baby, right? So the question is, why is this important? Because this is important. The stuff we're going to teach you today this is how you start building your exit strategy from being full-time in sales, your exit strategy to becoming partner. It all starts here. It all starts with the basics. And if you can incorporate the habits of the basics in your everyday mode, then it will happen for you. It will happen for you. So that's why it's important. Now, the whole concept of building, when it comes to building depth and growing a team, is you want to build a business. I wanted to build a business that was long-term stable, right? I want to build a stable business that would keep going on, that would keep perpetuating. And I found, and I learned right away, that when I was putting people direct to me, putting contracts in, contracted agents, and as they were producing, that is what we call addition, right? But building depth creates multiplication and stability. So I wanted to do both. I wanted to walk and chew gum at the same time. And the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to create leverage. That's the beautiful thing about building a team and building depth, is that you create leverage. And leverage comes from building deep legs of agents that produce and build. And then that's what multiplies your income instead of just putting people in with. Because putting people in with without building depth is just a revolving door business, man. It's the bathtub, right? You pour water in the bathtub and you've got a drain, and it just only stays at a certain level. And I've seen that happen in my business. So that's why this is important to learn these concepts that we're going to cover today. All right. So what what are we teaching you? Like, what are we learning? Okay, we're going to teach you proper building strategy so that when you bring people on, you know what you're doing and you know what you need to be doing with them, as well as what you need to be doing for yourself, right? And so we got this book called The Millionaire Maker Manual, okay? And that is our basics of building a business. So let's, Millionaire Maker Manual. All you have to do is read these books that Andy put out and then follow what he put in here. And here's the 4 basics of recruiting. And if you could master this on a daily, weekly basis, along with your 4 basics of selling, man, you're going to build a humongous business that will bring back to you multiples and multiples of the effort that you're putting in. So the 4 basics start with number 1, list of names. Number 2, the phone call. Number 3, the interview. Number 4, the follow-up. That's all it is, man. Wash, rinse, repeat. List of names. Okay, so what's the list of names? Andy says here to put together everyone that you know. Creating a list is an important part of the process, and it sets the tone for the person getting started. By establishing a list early, you help set the cornerstones of the foundation. The key is to make a list now and to act on it, right? So in order for you to get started right, you have to do this so that your upline can help you build your team. And who do you know, right? Who do you know? Not whether or not they could do it or not if they'd be interested. Who do you know? Okay. And it's a very simple process. This is your warm market starting out. So who do you know? And you start listing people, and we've got list builders to show you how to do this. Okay. And I started out with people I knew. Like I knew Patrick Connors, I knew Mike and Noah Leventovich. I brought in 7, 8 other people my first batch, and lo and behold, I found 2, right? But I'll show you where those 2 came from, and I'll show you how our business developed over time, because I have my 2 largest legs here on the call. So who do you know, whether or not you think they could do it, right? It's really simple. And I like to look at it from the standpoint of, who's like a criteria. So I kind of look at, the people that are 25 to 35. I consider everyone. But to me, kind of like the stars, I put stars next to them. I teach my people to put stars next to them. 25 to 35, they own a home, right? They got stability in their job. They might just be a married couple with no kids. That's kind of a plus. Are they a business owner? Do they own a business? Okay. And so these are, or entrepreneurial, they're always looking, that the, entrepreneurial top person. And I kind of look at these as what we call the Alliance Adam, the Alliance Alice. These are these kind of people on this card. These folks right here, okay? Now I consider everyone, but man, I'm looking to perpetuate my business, okay? Look, I am like 60, right? 60, okay? I'm 60. If I bring in a bunch of 60-year-olds, how long is my business gonna last, right? You know what I'm saying? I want to find young people like a Jake and Veray, man. I want to find some young people like a Jose Compton, because I know when they're in their 30s, they're gonna be hustling, man. They're going to be in this thing for I got another 30 years that I think my business will perpetuate. And if I keep them finding 30-year-olds, now I'm bringing everybody, because you know what? A 60-year-old has kids that are in their mid-20s or 30s, right? So I'm not going to not bring the 60-year-olds. But man, I'm just looking, man. I'm looking for the sharp ones. Okay. Crispy critters, I used to call them. And so I put stars next to these, some of this criteria here, right? Or people that know them. Like you might bring a teacher on that knows a bunch of these type of people. Like I'm always looking at network. Who do they know? Right? It's not so much, is it them or who do they know that I can work with? Because everyone's a doorway to depth. Everyone's a doorway for opportunity. Okay. Remember, here's a great example. We did a study on the top builders. This is actually pretty cool. So we looked at the top builders and the top producers. Okay. The top builders and producers. And do you know that the top builders and producers came within 8 deep? So someone who knew someone statistically, like they came within 8 deep from the original person. And I think actually it was more like 6, and then there's 1 or 2 that went 8. So really the bulk of them were 6 deep, and then, top 10, right? The top 10 builders and producers. Isn't that interesting? A lot of times it wasn't the original person, so that's, to me, that example just speaks volumes on this idea of building a list. And then what do you do with this list, right? We turned it over. I would recommend turning it over to your upline. Now look, your upline has a lot of places to work, probably if they're busy, and they only have a small window of time with you. If you're going to be one of those kind of folks that say, well, I got to make sure I do it first. You ever have one of those people say, well, I got to do it first before I show my friends. It's like, bro, seriously? Did someone have to do it first before they showed you the business? No, you were on their list. Like, thank God, Andy. See, because Andy wasn't the biggest producer in the world. He might have done like less than 10,000, but he just started building his business like crazy, right? He didn't wait until he could show paychecks. He didn't wait until he could take someone out on an appointment. What's amazing about Andy is that, you hear this lead from the front, lead from the front. It's like, Andy didn't lead from the front. Andy just led. He just led people to what they wanted. Andy's the greatest Pied Piper. Why? Because he was expert at figuring out what you wanted. And then he was expert at helping you lay out the program on how you could get it, right? So he was never the biggest producer in the world, but he could lead people to producing because he could lead people, right? And so the phone call is really simple. It's like, hey, man, letting your upline do it. It's a very simple process. Hey, Joe, this is Alex. I'm a friend of Jose's. Hey, listen, man, he mentioned that you're out there in Washington State, and I'm partnered with a friend of mine out of North Carolina. We're in the insurance business. Have you heard of Mutual of Omaha? We're looking for some people right now. Are you open and looking right now? It's a very simple process. Are they looking or are they not looking, right? Because the whole idea in the phone call is you're asking the question, are they looking? Are they looking for an opportunity? If they're looking, great. If they're not looking, great. The beautiful thing about a list is I cross out people that aren't looking, and I find the people that are looking. The beautiful analogy here is kind of like in sales. Out of a batch of 20 A leads, you're not going to sell all of them, but because you have 20, you're going to sell a bunch of them, right? The bunch of them that really want it. But you got to go through the 20 to find the people that want it. Does that make sense? And so our phone call is answering the question, are they looking right now? Okay. And if they are, great. If the guy says, yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm absolutely wide open, man. I want to know what are y'all doing? Because that was me. When Andy called me, I said, sounds good, bro. Sign me up. I was like, sign me up, because I knew Andy. I knew everything he touched turned to gold. So why would I think that, I was going to follow him, right? So I was already looking. He didn't have to convince me, man. We're trying to find the easy ones that are already looking. See, Andy didn't know that 2 weeks before I was on my knees praying, Lord, help me. I need to find something different because I was working, 70 hours a week. I never saw my young children at the time, 4, 2, and 1. We had 3 at the time. We got 5 now. And I'm going, man, I need to find something. 2 weeks later, Andy calls me. You think that wasn't providential? So I was looking. Now there's people Andy called that weren't. In fact, there are probably more people that weren't looking than people that were looking, right? That's just how it is. And so I never had to worry about whether or not I was going to find somebody because I knew I would if someone gave me enough people to call. Sharp people that met this criteria. Out of 25, I'm probably going to find 3, 4, 5 people that are open and looking right now, right? And so that's all I'm trying to find out, who if they're looking. And I might show them the plan at the time of the phone call, or what I'll do is like, look, hey man, they say, yeah, I'm looking, wide open. What is it? I tell them it's insurance. My buddy's name is Andy Albright. Owns this huge marketing company in North Carolina, and we're blowing up. We're expanding in your area. Listen, I don't got time, a lot of time right now, but you got time, later on tonight where I got, maybe 15, 20 minutes where I can give you the details. Are you open to doing that? Yeah, I am. Cool. So we do the interview. Andy calls it the quality interview. And what's a quality interview? Well, a quality interview means that it's quality. In other words, quality to me, all right, quality is they have a quality why. They have a sincere reason why to do this. That to me is a quality interview because you are finding out why they want to do this. So here, the phone call is, are they looking? The interview is, you're establishing that they're looking, but you're also finding out, do they want to make money the way we make money? See, simple process. Are they looking? Yes or no? When we're interviewing, do you want to make money the way we're making money? This is how we make money. Yes or no? Maybe. Okay. Once we filter because this is all a filter process, right? This thing is a filter process. We start the top of the filter with the list of names. Then we qualify them with the phone call. And then they make to the next level of the filter, and that's the interview. And then they're ready to rock and roll. So we're going to follow up with them, right? Follow up. And what is the follow up? It's a follow up, get started. So we're going to get them going, right? So how are we going to get them going? You have this thing called list, license, the next conference, okay? List, license, conference, LLC. So we get them started by, guess what? List. You see how beautiful this process works? Number one, if you did it yourself, like I did it, my own list of names. I mean, I didn't have to have Andy call mine because I was going to call mine because I knew how to call mine. I knew how to call my people. And I never let my credibility be the thing, right? Because people will say, well, how much money are you making in that thing? No, I say, man, my buddy Andy Albright's kind of looking for some folks. Owns a very successful marketing group. He's a multimillionaire. And we're looking to expand in your area. He's looking for some people. If I can arrange an interview for you, do you think you'd be open to checking it out? You can do part-time, full-time, whatever time, but are you open and looking right now? See, I don't say, well, I got in, I'm an agent, and last week I made 30 dials. Oh, man. See, Andy did not have to show me what he was doing and how much money he was making because he was not making any money yet. But he showed me people that were making money. Does that make sense? He showed me people that were successful. He showed me the credibilities and the opportunity. The credibility is never with you. Down the road, it could be with you. But I never want to let my paycheck determine whether or not I could recruit someone. Because I think our opportunity is strong enough on its own, gang. gosh, we have 27 life and annuity carriers that want to partner with us because we can lead them to production, right? We got Medicare companies. We got all these carriers that want to work with us. We got Integrity Marketing Group as our infrastructure to support us. We got leads. I mean, and then we have leaderboards. We got all these people that are producing. You don't need to be the credibility, okay? That you could always use Andy Albright's credibility, the credibility of the leaderboards. The business in and of itself is strong enough to find the people that are interested in an opportunity. The opportunity is the business. The opportunity is not based on whether you've done it or not. Is that hopefully that kind of lifts this cloud off you, thinking that you got to be the be all end all of producers, you know? And what's funny about that is when you make a lot of money in this thing, like I remember this dude, he was in the Amway business with me in another group. I showed this thing to him, he wasn't interested. And then I started making, six figures. I showed him my paycheck, like was deposited. And he's like, wow, man, that's pretty good. Okay, then I got a bonus check for like 58,000 this one month. And I think we cash flowed it was like 80,000 or something like that month. And I ran into him again. I said, hey, dude, like, check this out. And you know what he said? He goes, well, I always knew that you could be successful, but he never got in. So I'll tell you what, man, you might think that showing your paycheck, now it could open the mind to some people, but it's just funny how it just doesn't work sometimes because the person you're showing to does not have the self-image, right? And that's the problem. Now, the people that have the self-image, business owners, people that make way more money than you, brother, they're going to evaluate the opportunity, not because of you, but they're going to evaluate the opportunity because of Andy Albright. You know what I mean? And you always have Andy as your credibility. Does that make sense? So we start the cycle with you helping someone bring in a person. You bring this person in, Jose, and then host B comes in because Jose knows host B. And so we work with host B's list, right? We got host C, got host D. And that's how you get a person started, is their list of names. Then if they're not licensed, we get them their license, and then we get them to the next conference, next live conference. It could be the thing that's going on in Treasure Island right now. It could be the stuff that was going on in Dallas, or it could be when Tim Goad and Megan Wood were in Phoenix, Arizona a couple weeks ago. Live is always better. Live in person is always better. And so we have, what do we have in the end of September, October, is we have Fall Summit. Man, have your upline who's an expert at promoting live meetings, promote it to your people. Man, if you can get someone there, they're going to get jacked up, excited. They're going to produce a list of names, hundreds of people because they're so fired up. And then you can take advantage of that opportunity to drive this thing that we call depth, right? So here's kind of the general rules on depth building. As you might be excited because you got Jose. Alex, I got this guy named Jose. Yeah, fired up for you. I got a recruit. No, you don't. You don't have a recruit. Well, what do you mean, Alex? Dude, you don't got a recruit until you got a recruit for them. So no one's recruited until you have someone for them. Why? Because people are less likely to quit when they know they have the hope of earning an override on somebody. Hope is a beautiful thing, right? They may be struggling selling, but you bring one person on for them, they're going to hang in there long enough to either make this thing work selling or to see the overrides on their guy or gal, right? So you don't got a recruit until you got a recruit for them, right? You don't got a leg until it's 4 deep, okay? And you don't got an organization and a business until it's 12 deep, right? So those are some basics on recruiting. You got to find someone for that person to lock them in, because people are going to be quicker to quit their own personal production, their lack of it, than they are with the hope of making an override in the future. Does that make sense? It's all in here, man. Let me go to. So Andy says here, how do you know that you have a solid person that's ready to work with you? In other words, how do you know you have someone that you're willing to invest your time, money, and emotion into to build depth through, to build depth with, and to teach what you're doing to duplicate? Number one, they have to be able to bring on their own without your help. They're personally recruiting without you. Number two, they have to be a team player. So they're doing the 18 player steps, right? All 8. They have to be able to take a second and third leg other than the taproot that you help them build and take it to a minimum of 8 levels deep. That's how you know you got someone that is worth your time to work with. See, now the thing is, if you wait to give your upline, your list of names, okay, you've lost your window because they're going to be working somewhere else. You've lost your window. If you don't get that list of names right away, they've blown past you, man. Like, imagine they're trying to decide who they're going to work with, and the person this is you, and you want to wait until you're successful. So they're going to go here or here or here. Who's got the biggest list of names and who's the sharpest? And they're going to start working with this person, right? And then this person says, I got a list. And they're going to start building depth with these people. And then this person gives them a list, and so they're working 3 legs. And then you decide, hey, how about me? I'm ready. It's like, man, I wish I could have got you started when I was willing to help you, but man, I'm working here, and here. I'll tell you what, why don't you do this? Why don't you call your people, right? And why don't you bring me somebody who you bring on that's sharp, and I'll be willing to maybe work with them, but I got all this stuff going on, man. You can do it, man. Fire it up. You can make a lot of money. I mean, there's only so many places that we can work with our time. If you don't bring that list of names to us right from jump, then man, you're going to be out here in the 12th leg, right? While your upline's in legs 1, 2, 3, and 4, 12 deep, 8 deep, 6 deep, 5 deep, trying to drive those legs down to China, right? And you're leg number 12, 13, 14, 15 with a list of names. But he hired you when you were potentially leg number 2, and you would have been that 12 deep leg, but you just wanted to wait, right? So I'll tell you what, man, waiting is not a good strategy. I don't see anything in this book that says wait. In this book, it's either now or right now, right? The big hand, the little hands on the now and the big hands on the right now, okay? So when you're working with somebody, and he says this is what you need to teach your new person as you're getting them started. Number one, you teach them to develop a list of names. Number two, teach them to make recruiting calls for the warm market depth and then cold market recruiting. Number three, teach them how to do an interview, a quality interview, right? Then teach them how to do a one-on-one meeting individually with people or with a group of people, right? Sharing the opportunity with one or many, then teach them how to get someone started, doing a follow-up and get them started. If you can get them rolling, then you've duplicated yourself and you got your business growing, okay? All right. Okay, so let me draw this concept out of depth building so you can kind of understand why depth works, okay? This is called width. It's bringing people direct to you, okay? 3, 7. So this is addition. You're adding people, you're contracting them, you're getting them started, okay? Now, if you get them started right, probably out of a batch of maybe 12 people, you're going to find maybe 4 people that is all in on giving you a list of names, you know? And so this is, you implement what Andy's taught you in the green book, and then you start doing this. You start driving depth. Okay. And here's the thing, what works in width, finding 3, 4 legs out of 12 also works in depth too. You're going to find some legs, ideally 3 or 4. If you drive it 12 deep, you're going to find 3 or 4 that also is going to bring on their width. Now, here's the beauty of width and versus depth, is that you find somebody, they're going to get wide. They're going to start doing the things that we're teaching, right? They're getting width on their own. They're selling, oh, by the way. Right? And then you got some of these people producing. Maybe you got some depth going on, okay? And you see how this works. This depth, when you drive it deep, it starts bubbling up. The volume starts moving up from this group. Let's say this group does 25,000. Well, immediately this person's one leg number 1 is 25,000. They add more to it. They're moving up. They're going to be agency manager, lickety split. This is kind of like Jared Gonzalez and Jake and Veray. It's exactly how you can go agency manager, by finding a superstar down here or several people. And then this person has this leg. This leg could be, 40,000. This leg, by the time this person's number 1 leg, this could be 100,000 leg, right? Which means they are able to move up if they bring on width. So you see how volume just kind of bubbles up because you've got a leg that you're all sharing, okay? But you got this person trying to sell, they don't believe it, they quit. This person, they get their first charge back, they quit, right? It's starting to sound like sower in the seed parable that Jesus talked about. The people that, the seed that lands on good soil, it grows, the harvest grows. Does that make sense? So that's what I love about when Andy talks about the simplicity of depth building, is who do you know that we can show the business to, and it's just doing this, and then you're going to find people. And we call the people that get the width on their own, we call this that firewall concept, okay? Firewalls. Let's put this guy up here. So what's a firewall do? What's really cool about a firewall is this is the foundation of your business, is that you find leaders that build firewalls, right? And this is the people that you can build the foundation of your business on that will duplicate you. They love Andy Albright, right? And they do the things they're supposed to do without you telling them to do it. That's true duplication. You think I need to work in the Leventovich organization anymore? No, I don't. But I love building relationships with them. Like some of my buddies, James and Pal Millar, just some of my buddies I love down there. Paul Epstein, Joseph and Venus. I mean, I just love these people because they've been with the business for so long. I love building relationships with people, particularly the leaders in my organization, because these are the people that my current and future income is dependent upon, right? That we help them become leaders. Now, how do you know? How do you know that they're leaders? How do you know that they are the people? Well, number one, they're the firewall people, okay? And when you got a firewall, this leg is not going anywhere. This leg is going to be there for the long haul. Okay, this is how you know. When you got 3, 4 leaders in depth that are the firewall leaders, right? So how do you identify those type of leaders, right? There's a criteria. Number one, they're willing to listen. They listen to you. We make any little suggestion, they go do it. They're like, they don't question it. Like, I don't mind getting questions, but they just do it no matter what. They question just to understand it, but they don't question to decide whether or not they should do it. Don't you love those people that, well, so tell me why we're doing this? And it's that, well, I'm going to decide whether I want to do it or not because I think I'm smarter than you. It's that attitude. It's like, oh my gosh, you're going to be that guy, huh? Seriously? I'm trying to help you make millions the way Andy already taught me to make millions, but you're coming at me with this pick and choose. Well, I'll determine. Like, man, I want to find someone who says, oh, that's so awesome. I will do it. So tell me the thought process behind doing that so I can learn why we do it so I can do it too. I love that attitude, man. That attitude, that's a Mike and Noel Leventovich attitude. That's a Patrick Connors attitude. They were always like that from jump, from day one, right? Because I was always like that. I would say, hey, man, this is what Andy wants us to do. They never questioned it. Why? Because I always edified Andy and he edified me. They had no reason to question me what I was saying. They weren't like, well, this is what Andy said, but here's what I think we should do. Man, that ain't a leader, man. Just stay far away from that person as fast as you can. So the 5 qualities of these firewall leaders, they listen. Number 2, they work. They are selling life insurance, right? And they're recruiting. They're bringing on people on their own. They work. Number 3, they're getting results, okay? It's one thing to work, you're not getting results. We still need to help you learn how to get results. But once you start getting results and you start getting consistent at finding people, bring people into business and producing insurance, you're getting results, then what's going to happen is you're going to get edified, right? But people that get edified sometimes let that go to their head and they think, man, that's just, I'm the deal. I'm the deal. You should like worship me because I'm being edified, because I'm smart. No, man, you're looking for the humble person that gets edified that says, hey, man, I appreciate what you're saying about me, but all I did was what Andy told me to do. And you know what? I'm fired up with people in my group that are doing what Andy told them to do too. I've got this person, that person, this person. See, the person that gets edified knows how to pass that edification down to people below them, but they don't let it stop with them, right? And then the 5th one, see, because people that edify properly also listen. See, the person that gets the pride and ego in the way don't listen, and you can't work with them. It's like, crap, I got to find someone underneath them quick, right? Number 5, they can handle negative on their own. These are firewall leaders. These are people that your business will perpetuate because you find these people that listen, they put in the work, they're getting results, they get edified, and they know how to pass that edification down. They still listen, and they handle negative on their own, right? Now, we're not forcing to handle negative on their own. Typically, when you handle negative for the first time, you check an upline, and your upline says, okay, this is how you deal with someone who gets a large chargeback, right? Or this is how you deal with someone who can't get contracted with this carrier. This is how we deal with that, right? This person's wanting to jump to another company because they can offer them 5 points more in contract. This is how you handle that. And you learn from all the things your upline, growing upline is teaching you, and then you personally implement it. You learn to handle negative on your own. And I have on the call the people that I think are the firewall people, or the people that are learning to be firewall people that I believe will be our firewall people. And here's the deal. If you do this properly, if you implement the 4 basics of recruiting, you become that person that your upline wants to work with. You turn over the list of names now. You become this person here that you're listening, you're working, you're producing, and you're bringing on recruits on your own. You're getting results with bringing people on and building, get edified, then man, your business is on its way. And then you identify 3 to 4 leaders in 4 or 5 legs, you're going to be a multimillionaire, right? So I'm going to show you the results. Now, here's the thing. If you don't do this, then you're going to be in the field forever till you're 80 years old. If you don't do this, you're going to have a revolving door business right? Of people that come in, get out, come in, get out. And then you just say, I hate this recruiting thing. I'm just going to produce. And then you're going to be a slave to your insurance job forever. Now, we don't care. Like we make an override on you, so we don't care one way or the other. But probably you're not going to be in business long, right? So I'm going to bring up my man, Patrick Connors. And I want Patrick to talk about, take the next 5 minutes, Patrick, talk about your group and your firewall people and what you see in the future for them.
Can you hear me?
I sure can. Let me
Thanks. Wow, just full of nuggets, full of nuggets. I mean, if you guys would take a point that Alex made and then listen to it and act on it and find it in the green book and find out how Andy says to do it. Oh my goodness, he just dropped so many nuggets on us. I'm still recovering from the $58,000 bonus check that Alex just tossed into the middle of his talk. Did you guys hear that? 58,000? That wasn't from Alex going out and selling. Alex has been a top 5 producer for the entire nation just in selling. But that bonus check came because he did what he's talking about, what Andy taught us to do. So I was just taking a couple notes, Alex. I had to say that. I can't wait to see what Jera and Jake and Viray and Dennis and Jose are going to do. If they're implementing the stuff that's in pages 106 to 120 in the Green Book, 106 to 120, at least in the 4th edition, it's pages 106 to 120. If they duplicate that stuff, if they do what Andy's saying in there and what Alex is covering, sky's the limit. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I mean, I could see them. I could see them passing up anything that Mike and Noel have done. I could see him passing up anything that Alex has done. Andy has said, we haven't found the biggest person yet in the alliance. We haven't found him yet. Maybe it's going to be Jake and Viray. I don't know. But if they're implementing this depth stuff that Alex is talking about, it's gonna explode. So Alex said a couple things going on in our group. That's stuff that Alex is talking.
Patrick,
I was 4 deep. So Alex hired a guy who hired a guy who hired me. And when Alex says, you're looking for people that will recruit or do these things, you don't wait for them to do it. Alex was the guy who brought in the first guy. And then Alex said, who do you know? And he called the next guy. He didn't wait for this guy to drive depth. Alex drove the depth. He would love if this guy would have done it, but he didn't wait for that to happen.
Yeah, that first guy gave me a list of name. A list of name.
Thank God for that person. Thank you for that person. He matters. Okay, so Alex hired this guy who hired this guy. Then Alex said, who do you know? And he got a couple guys. And then this guy here, the third guy down from Alex, he said, let's go meet Alex. So that night I was at a hamburger shop and Alex was there. And then Alex did the same thing with me. He said, Patrick, you want to make $500 on one sale in 1 hour? I said, yes. How do I do that? The very first thing he told me, he didn't cover all this stuff that he's talking about right now. That's for us. What he did was he took my butt 11 hours in a van with 8 other guys and a woman, Noel Leventovich, and we were crammed in this van driving over the mountains in a storm in West Virginia to Andy Albright. That's the first thing he did. We weren't licensed. He didn't get me an insurance school. He didn't get me an NAA number. He didn't hand me this book and say, you need to read pages 106 to 120. He just took me to Andy Albright. And I think that stuff has worked. It's working like crazy. I don't know how much. I think I'm out of time. Sorry.
It's all right. So we got Patrick, talk about Dennis and Jose, kind of the people in your, like your firewall people.
So Dennis came 3 deep. So there were 3 other guys, and some of them they're gone. So thank God we got to Dennis. And then Dennis is a firewall. He's doing those 5 things that you talked about. He's doing the 8 steps. He's actually with Andy Albright this morning at the F&G study group. And he is building width. He's getting the width by himself, getting the results.
Absolutely.
He has 6 legs that are growing right now, and one of them is Jose. And you can see Jose. It's hard to see him with the light there, but you can see him. It's like a halo around his head, you know. And Jose has got already 3 legs that are working, that that Dennis is working, that I'm working, that Alex was on the phone with them yesterday working. So that's the taproot. And I've got another leg that's 12 deep, another that's 8, another that's 7. So 4 legs there.
Rocket. All right, man. Michael Evantovich, let it rip.
Hey, having fun, and grateful that Alex reached out. And the first thing that we learned early on is that this business is simple, and anybody can do this. I think we covered a lot here today, but I just want to make sure, and everything that Alex has covered is important as you start to build. But the one thing is, anybody can do this. We have leads. People are asking to buy life insurance. People are asking to be enrolled in Medicare savings. They have to be in Medicare. Our business is unbelievable in terms of how simple it is for someone that simply wants to put in the work and develop a few skills. We've got engineers doing this. We've got set builders from, like people who do construction. We've got teachers, we've got bartenders, we've got servers, we've got athletes that aren't so smart, that didn't finish college. We got people that are way smart that went and spent too much time in college and forgot how to talk to people. I mean, we've got like a spectrum of people. So I think that's why we say, hey, in building an organization, anybody can do this if they see it and they want it. It's bloody simple. And so I think that's a reassuring piece of this. And the next thing just is that Andy said, keep it simple. Anybody can do this. We can connect them with people that can help them and answer questions along the way. And that concept has allowed us to go out and find people. And so I'm just thankful that Alex quickly reached out to Noel, because we had another friend that had got started with the same program 3 months before that didn't say something to us. And so I'm just thankful that, hey, we had a second chance of somebody that did ask us. We didn't even know about the person could have until he saw us on a leaderboard and said, how many Levantoviches are in the United States? And that guy made a multi-million-dollar mistake because he's missed out on like $6 or $7 million in overrides that could have been his, but aren't. So don't be that guy that didn't talk to people he knew that prejudged. It's just so simple things. I would just say, don't be the guy that says, because by saying I'm not going to put someone on a list in a column, you're saying I don't want to tell my friends that they could make an extra $1,000 a week part-time. I needed an extra $1,000 a week part-time, and I started doing that outside of my engineering job because I couldn't get to 100,000. And right now, there's this thing called the Great Resignation going on. 42% of employees at jobs are thinking about leaving their job in the next several days or weeks or months. And they're out there, and I promise you they're looking. They've just decided what I do sucks, or I don't get engagement, or I don't have a team, or I'm not rewarded financially. And these are people on your list. They may be people that you even talked to a while ago. And so here's what we've done. We started, as we found people, we found Paul Epstein, who needed a new income stream. And then he identified a few people. He talked to his buddy, Joseph Dukes. Joseph said, man, I'm going to get started part-time. We found Joseph. Joseph, then he started running some ads, and he found a guy who had a cousin who decided to get a life. In fact, the guy started, and this next guy started. I remember me meeting them because they lived in a funeral home. It's like, how they can have like a rectory where the priest lives, it's attached to the church. I didn't know in this one state in Utah, they actually have people that like live in the funeral home. You talk about weird, but I remember we were doing a business meeting in the funeral home. We had to have a timeout so they could drag a body through. And I remember that guy, he led to his brother. That guy made sod for a living. He would sit there and water sod and cut it and deliver it to people. But then he got started. And then he had a neighbor who was already in insurance, and his boss was being investigated by the FBI because that guy had a boss that was criminal. He's like, I got to do something else. And he led us to somebody And he led us to a guy that started doing some stuff. I remember this guy, we had him at an event, and he was a 45-year-old man wearing Heelys. We're like, what's he doing? He was like skating on Heelys around our conference center. I was like, I hope he's got life insurance. I think that fool's going to die. But he had a friend. And that friend, he started selling some policies, and he met a guy who started selling a bunch more. And this guy, he was really good. And he found this lady in Santa Fe who was like, I'm never going to go to one of your conferences, but I'm going to sell a few annuities. And I'm going to sell some IULs. And she did. And she led us to a guy named Jerry Gonzalez. And Jerry, he's passionate about a number of things. He likes fixing windshields. He likes fixing roofs, and he likes helping families. And he talked to his daughter, Jera. And Jera has started to find other people. Jera's selling. She's found other people. She's found people like Jake Wilson was on the TWC. She found Jake and Ray. She's got other people in class. She's up there producing. She's on the trip to Alaska. And now we got Jake and Ray. They're in the top 20 in the company with personal production. They're having fun with their kids, and they're finding other people. And we've got the next wave of people on their team that are emerging, like Anthony Zingerman, who just drove out, spent 3 days here in Louisville working with us, who's putting with, who's selling. And we're now identifying the next layer under him. And we're looking to see who's going to be next. And there's another leg with Jake and Ray, a guy named Drew, who's part-time, just got started selling, already made like a couple $1,000s this month part-time. And he's got people in class and license that are coming on board. And so we're continuing to do this. And here's what I tell you guys. You can do it slow like Noel and I did, but you can do it fast too. And with the tools that we have and learning to use social media and connect and communicate to the people that know how to do this, if you want to run fast, we can move fast. And we've found these people by being on the phone, by driving, by flying, and going and seeing people, sitting down, drinking coffee, eating food. I'm good at eating food. Okay. I can drink and I can eat and I can talk and I can listen and I can drive. And so those are the skills you got to have to build a big business. And so, Alex, I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate all the miles that Andy's put in his car and on his jet. And Alex, the miles and the time that you spent on the phone. And we're just trying to copy that. We're no geniuses. We're just out finding people and showing them that anybody can do this. We don't care what your background is or what your friend's background is. Anybody can do this. And the timing hasn't been better. We're still paying the media to talk about COVID. It's like, I feel like Mr. Burns in The Simpsons talking about COVID all the time. Excellent. Excellent. All right. But business is great. We need some more. There's a harvest here. Alex, thank you for having us here.
Man, I wish I could hear from everybody, but we're done. That's our time. But man, thank you, Alliance Nation. Thank you, Andy Albright, for allowing our team to share with you. This stuff works, man, because we have examples all around us. So God bless y'all. Let's rock this thing. Let's do this. See you at Fall Summit. Take care.